It is interesting about that connection between money and emotion because, like you said, the math side of it, math's not emotional, right? Math is an emotional thing. If you do the math and you say this is what you need in retirement, this is what you need long term. Historically, you shouldn't run for cover when things are looking bad, and you shouldn't be too euphoric when things are looking good. I think it's more of that visceral feel of scarcity, and
Yeah.
we're not out there chasing woolly mammoths, right? So the
Yeah.
anxiety has to come from somewhere because your body is telling you that you're too comfortable. And so you do it with money and you say, all right, well, this is what I'm going to worry about. I'm going to worry about money instead, because that is what 20, 30, 40,000 years ago, people would have been worried about getting food on their table by killing a saber-tooth tiger, right?
Yeah, it's deep. So much of our irrational behavior makes perfect sense. I think one thing that I kind of noticed maybe, I don't know, 10 or 15 years ago, I started noticing as behavioral finance started to become like the cool thing with the cool kids like to talk about. There was this smugness that started to enter the industry where we were like, oh, look at those silly humans down there behaving that silly way, doing things like confirmation bias or recency effect, or we had all these names for it in Kahneman's book and all of that stuff. And I think we forget that we do the same thing. And often many of us do it worse than anybody else. But I think my real point is we should have deep empathy for that behavior. Like when you're scared because everybody else around you, it feels like everybody else around you is selling. And maybe that also at the same time, interest rates are changing and you're trying to buy a new home and you're all worried about that and you're scared, like that makes sense. Like you're projecting that into the future and you're like, if this continues at this rate, we'll be living under a bridge in 7.2 years, like you've calculated it. Well, we should have some deep empathy for that. It's irrational, but it makes perfect sense because it's how we were wired in the past. When you understand that, you're like, bro, what are we even talking about? Like, this isn't a spreadsheet. This is the spreadsheet stuff's insanely important, but it's only important because it allows us to have a conversation about the stuff that actually matters.